Hey friends, it's Ruben with Hi-Fi MIDI. Thanks for joining me for how to program acoustic guitar VST in your DAW, and this is exercise number 12. This was my rendition of John Mayer's No Such Thing. It's an old song, but it's a classic. And I want to show you how I programmed the acoustic guitar. Now this is going to involve several steps. So really quickly, I'm using AGT with the strum library, ABP, and I've rolled off some of the highs. Superior Drummer with the AOT kit. It's going to take a while to load. There you go. By the way, my voice sounds a little extra deep today because I'm a little sick. But I always think my voice sounds cool like this, like it's made for radio. Anyway, I'm using AGF and I'm running it through Amplitube. So let me play that acoustic track for you by itself. Okay, so the way we achieve this is we have to lay out some preparation within the plugin first. So we're gonna actually play this on keyboard, but it's pretty easy, and if you mess up on it, it's okay because you can fix it in the MIDI editor. So the first thing you're gonna do is in the articulation section, you're going to layer the sustain and palm mute. The way you do that is by hitting C and D0 at the same time together. So what this does is that it layers those two articulations. The palm mute's going to be on the bottom and the sustain is going to be on the top, and it's going to be triggered based on your velocity. So for example here, very soft velocities are palm mute and harder ones are the sustain. The next thing we're going to do is to go into Strummer, and we're going to create 3 chords for this one. In Strummer mode, we're going to be in select mode for the chords. This means that you preset your chords to be changed via key switch. And now you need to make sure that your Strummer is on, strum mode is on. Otherwise, you're not going to get the strum sound. So the first chord is going to be open E. Then on the 11th fret, you're going to click on that. Then the 13th, and then the 11th fret for the next string. Now these last 2 strings are going to be muted, and the way that you mute them is simply by clicking on the note until it disappears. So if you already have a preset chord in there, let's say it's this one right here, you just click on them again to get rid of them. It's very easy to do, and then it's saved. So this is what this chord sounds like. Now over here in this section, where my right hand is, these are the individual strings, and we're gonna hit. We're gonna finish it off with 3 strums. Now, you might notice that the notes sound very short. As soon as I let it go, cuts off. The way that you do that is by dragging the release all the way down so you get that staccato sound. And the reason you might want to do it with your hand instead of using the sequencer is because you're going to get that variation of dynamic. Whereas in the sequencer, it's going to be the same, and you would have to program all the little differences of dynamics. All right, so on number 1, I have it set to this chord. Number 2 is going to be the exact same chord, except this one is going to be on the 14th fret. So I keep saying number 2. I meant number 3, which is D. So notice the difference between these, and it's going to sound like this. So the first one is this. The second one is this. So here's how the change goes. I'll go slower. And then the last chord, I have it set to 6. You're going to have 4 open strings, E, A, B, and E. And all you need to do is click on those right here, right before the nut. And then you're going to have one on the 4th string, 11th fret, and then the 3rd string, 13th fret. And this is going to sound like this. Now remember, you have 2 downstrokes and an upstroke. So to get the full stroke, you're going to want to hit the first one. This is C. In the effects section, I have some bass roll-off and some highs, some high boost. That way the sound can cut through a little bit more and it's not going to get in the way of the bass. So now for some of this, we will need a sustain pedal. So if you don't know how to use a sustain pedal or you don't have one, that's completely fine. So let's see. Let's delete this and get to recording. All right, so that doesn't sound like the way I want it, but that's okay. We're going to do some editing now in the MIDI editor. So if you don't know how to bring that up, go to the top right corner. If you have Cubase and Logic, you just hit P and it'll open up. Okay. I'm going to zoom. So now we see our chords. We see our chords at the top, our individual notes, strings I mean, at the bottom. And then down here, these are our chord changes. We're not going to mess with these right now. But I want you to drag your cursor over this, click down and select all of these notes. And then since they're all 8th notes, I want you to quantize them perfectly to the grid. Now, because the sample starts at 32 milliseconds, there's going to be a slight delay. So this is going to sound off time, but that's okay. We're going to adjust that. Yeah, that sounds terrible. It's okay. We're going to select these all again. And then zoom in to your track. I'm pressing H. And then we're going to drag this back a little bit. And then listen to it, see how it sounds. If it sounds tight, then leave it like that. I think I could go back a little bit. So rhythmically, this sounds tight. But there are some chords that I want to ring out a little bit. Specifically the 3 hits when the chord changes right here. Right there, those 3 hits. So the way we do this is that you need to make sure that your sustain parameter is open. And when you click Option, the pencil tool opens up in Cubase. So you have all this space right here to engage the sustain or to trigger it. So I'm going to click right here, right before, or right on the note, or before, it doesn't matter. And then when I want it to end, that's when I click again, and then I'm going to drag it down like that. Same thing right here. And then drag down. This is the counterintuitive part of this, is that when you click to the highest setting of the sustain, that means that it's down all the way. The sustain pedal is down all the way. So you're getting that sustain. When it's all the way down, that means the sustain pedal's up. I hate that it's like that, but that's the way it is. I'm going to speed through this process because I'm going to do this for every single one, so bear with me. Now that part where it has the 3rd chord change and it's just hanging on that chord, I'm going to sustain the entire time. And it ends right here. And then back to those 3. All right, let's listen to that. So this exercise was a little more involved than the previous, but I think it was pretty simple to do to achieve something mildly complex. Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so, please give this a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notification bell. And leave a comment below telling me what you like about this video and what you'd like to see in future videos. And if you love my channel and want to support it, there is a PayPal, Venmo, and Patreon link in the description so that you can contribute financially. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.